All right. So, if you're watching this on a replay, I actually had to restart the live because somehow or another, my internet was freezing up. I have the best, most high class, high quality internet you can buy for a house, and sometimes you still have to restart the router. So, I don't know what the hell that's about. Thank y'all for rejoining. Yeah, we back, we back, we back. I'm hoping this time that it works out for us. Um, so I probably had some questions I could have started, but yeah, that internet, man. It's just shit. Some stuff is just out of our control, and technology is one of those things. I appreciate y'all for coming back and joining me. Uh, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Hi from Harrisburg. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know where Harrisburg is, but hi Harrisburg. Shout out to Harrisburg. Um, yeah, hi to Mr. and Mrs. Kev. Yeah, Ashik is definitely gonna be in the comment section, making sure that I don't get insulted too heavy. She does a lot of guard work and making sure that people get their questions answered when they're forceful and assertive enough about it. Um, Let me see. Look, all right, look, we're getting right into it. I like that. Um, Somebody said, um, I never, what did I say? Somebody said, Al said, my half brother, uh, I never sent a message on Facebook, but he doesn't like or comment on my photos. Well, if you've never sent a message on Facebook and he doesn't like or comment on your photos, um, it doesn't mean he wouldn't have otherwise like them. He may just not see them. Okay, so I guess I should do my disclaimer again. I'm gonna get right back to your question. Um, in light of the current events, you can ask me anything about anything, whether it's current events, whether it's dating, whether it's relationships, whatever you want to talk about, we can talk about. With that said, um, yeah, if a guy's not commenting on your photos or your Facebook, stuff that you put up, your status or whatever, it doesn't necessarily mean he's not interested in you or he doesn't know you. There are a great many people on my Facebook that I just don't see their activity. If I have never interacted with them, if I've never written them a message, if somehow or another I never liked enough messages, then I don't see them. And Facebook is funny about showing you your whole audience or your whole audience seeing you. So whether or not you have 1,000 followers or 300 followers, only a percentage of those people actually see you, and Facebook's algorithm determines who that is. So maybe he doesn't even see your stuff to comment or like on it. So don't assume that he's not interested. He just might not be seeing it. I hope that helps. I have that same issue. Like, think about it. On my Instagram, well, I'm fairly lame in comparison to other people who are supposed to be hot. I have 14.2 thousand Instagram followers. Only about 600 to 800 of them see my stuff like regularly, up into about 1,500. But I really only have access to, on a regular basis, about 1,500 of my Instagram followers, people who are following me because they're interested in my stuff, but because they follow other people. Instagram has to prioritize who sees you, and all of that stuff. So he might not even see you on your Facebook. I hope that helps. Damn, that was a long answer for a very sort of simple question. Thank you for the $10 super chat, Jasmine Baby. She says, men have short attention spans and get bored easily. How can wives overcome this in their marriage so that interest is still maintained even after being together for a long time? I think as far as marriage, and obviously I speak for myself. I speak from experience. I'm married as well. I've been married for 7 years, or this will be my 7th year anniversary this year. Actually, on the 12th of this month, I got 6 days for my 7th anniversary. Um, I can say that if you're not on a journey, if you're not on a partnership journey with your partner, a lot of times it's easy to not only get bored but then grow in different directions. So for wives specifically, and or long-term girlfriends specifically, who are trying to make sure that they stay connected to their partners, it's extremely important that not only do you have a thing that you do together as a team, but you are both on your journeys to become better, more evolved people. Um, Most of the time, interest is lost or hope is lost, which obviously affects interest. But in long-term relationships, interest isn't necessarily the issue. The issue is hope, right? Sometimes people lose hope in their partner's ability to adjust, to improve in certain ways, right? And so once your partner stops believing, I'm sorry, your ability to make adjustments and change for the better, for the sake of the relationship, for the sake of their happiness or their joy or contentment, that's when people start drifting away. And so it's not necessarily interest. It's um, maybe they have a different type of sexual appetite, and for many years you have not been willing to do whatever they've been wanting to try. Well, they lose interest in you sexually because they're not being satiated sexually. And if you couple that with a few behaviors, say you or they are doing something that makes one of you uncomfortable, they start to lose hope in your in your ability or willingness to improve. Um, the issue of losing interest happens long before you realize you need counseling at that moment, right? So it's just about always trying to make sure you're presenting your best and you're giving a lot of effort to your relationship. As long as you never stop trying to serve and protect your relationship, losing interest isn't as big a deal. It's when you have an issue that you leave unresolved and you just hope that they get over it. And most of the time, people don't get over stuff. They love what they love, they like what they like, and they want what they want. And to deny them that invites and creates space for what appears to be a loss of interest, which is most of the time in long-term relationships, a loss of hope and a buildup of resentment for you not fulfilling certain things that they believe that you're responsible for, right or wrong. Because sometimes it's not your responsibility, but they do, their limited understanding might affect that. So just keep that in mind. Try to be on the life journey with you guys, and always kind of check in with your partner to make sure that the things that they need they're getting from you, and vice versa. I hope that helps. Um, Somebody said, are guys supposed to pay all the bills, or is it a 50-50 split by income? Help, please. I think that depending on like two young people who aren't depending on each other, who have different careers, who are not looking at marriage, or if marriage is off of the table. And I don't even think marriage should. I don't even want to throw marriage in there. But let's just say you got your own stuff going on, and he got his own stuff going on. I think that a guy shouldn't have to pay all the bills. I think a guy should pay for all the dates. But when you get into a relationship, you're a partnership. And if a man has to pay all the bills, then he starts to look at you like a bill. And so, right, wrong, or indifferent, um, you don't want your man looking at you like a liability. You want to be an asset to the relationship. If every time he looks at you, he sees money falling out of his pockets because he has to pay 100% of the bills, and he's not the type of guy who wants to do that or wants to bear the brunt of that responsibility by himself, he can start to resent the things that you do. And you hear about that a lot of times when women have to ask permission to, buy this on Amazon, or go to this place and spend this amount of money. It's not a good idea to completely and solely depend on a man's money, or make him pay for 100% of your living expenses. I don't think it's fair for some men who have limited pockets, but also it creates resentment where a lot of men don't have it to give. You're requiring it. So 50-50 50-50 split by income is, I think, a fair trade. Or 60-40, even 30-70. Just make sure that everybody got the same amount of spending money and leisure money at the end of the month. I hope that helps. Antonia Dragata, she says, and thank you for your super chat. She says, what do I do if a guy I'm interested in and he knows it? I see it. If a guy I'm interested in and he knows it, watching my social media but does not initiate or communicate, except texting. There's almost nothing you can do. Listen, if a guy is not making a move, but he knows he's welcome to it, then you have to just chalk that up as a loss until he either picks his interest up or he picks his balls up and starts to make a move. Watching your social media is something that a secret admirer might do, or something of a person who might respect you or admire you in some way. Unless you're going to like a couple of his pictures to give him a hint that he's more welcome to you than he believes. But you said accept texting, EX texting, which of course accept texting. I think if he has access to you and he's texting you and he's watching your social media, but he's not making a move, then he don't want nothing. When he wants something, he'll come forward. I hope that helps. Thinking about shooting my shot. I've seen him out a few times, but we never speak. Should I shoot? Any tips? He and I follow each other on IG and Twitter. Um, I suppose if you mean by shooting your shot, welcoming him in conversation, um, allowing him to know that you see him, you see his humanity. You've walked past a man, and you acknowledge him. Having small talk, small conversation. If by shooting your shot you mean that, just making an introduction, breaking the ice, then yes, by all means, shoot your shot. If by shooting your shot you mean walking up to him, introducing yourself like a gentleman, and getting his phone number, then no, don't do that. I wouldn't do that because it creates a dynamic of you being the potential employee, him interviewing you to make sure you're good enough, and it's not always a fair exchange of effort and information at that point. If he wants to talk to you, you can go right up to him and have a great conversation with him. You can start with some small talk. Oh man, that's a cool watch. Where'd you get it? I like that brand. Blah 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 blah. Or where'd you get those shoes? I thought they were sold out. I remember when people were going crazy when those shoes came out. Blah 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 blah. Whatever the thing that he has on that you can point to and start a conversation with, or whatever thing in the atmosphere that's going around that you can point to and start a conversation with, whether it's the weather or even a social climate or the political climate, whatever you can do to start a conversation with him, and start an exchange with him, do that. That's shooting your shot. That's a decent investment of time and effort. But just have a friendly conversation. If you approach him neutrally, not as someone who's romantically interested, but as just someone who's open to his energy, who's friendly to him, and who has obviously something to say. If you exchange ideas and you exchange thoughts, and he tries to stretch that interaction or elongate that conversation, now you're working with something. He's likely to try to ask you, or he's likely to shoot his shot with you if he's relieved that you finally made your interest or your noticing of him known. So do your best to just think about it that way. Get his attention by having some kind of conversational exchange, but don't go up to him and try to game him. Member, shout out, member. How you doing? Welcome to the podcast, family. Elevate. We haven't been doing the Elevate podcast for some time, and I'm not even sure how to delete any paid memberships, but I'm so glad you're a member of that. And actually, we will be starting that again in time. We will actually start the Elevate podcast again. I really like that. That was the podcast that I was shooting, or we were recording. Me and my wife were recording together. And so thank you, family member. Thank you for being a member. I love you. I appreciate you. Afro, oh the hell. $5 super chat. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thanks for the love. You don't got no question? If you got a question and you think of one, let me know, because I answered. I appreciate the love. London B. London B says, what is the difference between a wife who supports her husband to reach his dreams and he stays with her even after reaching it, versus a woman who also does that, but the husband leaves her for his dream girl? Ooh, that's a good question. I suppose the difference is there. The difference there is the husband, his intent, right? If you make being about you, come up, right? If you present, hold on, I'll make sure. Okay, I see your question, Afro. I'm gonna get your question right after this. My wife sent it to me. If you make being about a man, London B, if you make being with a man about how you can elevate him and upgrade his life, then sometimes you'll attract guys who are looking for that upgrade, whether it be financial, whether it be intellectual, whether it be his knowledge or skills or his abilities being increased by being around a person like you who motivates him. That's amazing, but you have to you really have to trust that that's not the case. Like, the man is the difference, not the woman. Women love with an intention. Women love with purpose in those situations, in those scenarios. If the man decides to leave a woman who's done that much for him, then he had it in him. The difference is the man. And sometimes you can watch a guy closely enough and see his propensity to do stuff like that to people who've helped him, because in his wake, in his past, in his trail, you'll see a lot of people who feel a little bit slighted. You'll see a lot of people who feel like they've given him more than they've gotten out of him, and that they were abandoned after they helped him. So just pay attention to a guy's relationships established before you, how long they were before you, how how much he gives and receives in those relationships, how he falls out with people, why he falls out with people, because ultimately the people he's experienced will have a similar experience than you will have in the future with him. So just make sure that you don't pour that much into a man that you upgrade his whole life in order for him to get to a tax bracket that he wants to, and then move to one of his dream girls. But again, that's the man. There's nothing you can do outside of operate, using your discernment and paying a lot of attention to things as they come up, and don't let yourself be used, and don't give too many of your resources, and don't give anything that you can't stand to lose, whether or not he walks away. Don't give your life savings to a man's dreams and goals and ambitions. He's supposed to be supplying those things for himself. I hope that helps. If it didn't, write me on Instagram. Let me know who you were in this live, and I will definitely go back on that question. Afro. So I got to get Afro before I jump into this next one. Said, what advice would you give for younger women, early mid 20s? Should I take time to date casually, even though I know I want a serious commitment? No. I think the biggest mistake women make is thinking that they have forever to take men seriously. I was actually going to do a video about this probably tomorrow morning, about how many women waste their 20s, thinking that they have forever. They get it together. They go through their whole phases, if that's what they like to call them. They go through their I don't want anything phase. I'm focusing on my career. They do all of this other stuff, but they never focus on the relationships that are genuinely presented to them by decent enough guys who really want to build and want a partner to build with. They date jerks. They do all of this stuff that doesn't help them, and they date all of these men that have no potential, no future, because they give them butterflies or goosebumps or connection or sparks or whatever. Don't put yourself in that position. Always especially in your 20s, take things seriously. Go find you some men that's going to add to your life and build on your life. I would much rather a woman give herself a healthy relationship, let it last for 20 years, and then grow apart in her 40s, and then reassess dating, than to screw off her 20s, have trouble in her 30s, finally find someone around 38 and 40 to finally have the life she wants, when you could have already done that, had a great husband, and then redone it again. Don't waste your 20s thinking that you have time and thinking that you have forever. You don't. Let me make sure I answer the rest of that question. Yeah, go after what you want. Don't let people tell you you're too young to do that. Go after what you want. Okay, I'm gonna get back into this. Okay, so Brianna Hall, thank you so much for your super chat. She said, a guy told me that he's not ready for a relationship, but he's just chilling and working on himself. Should I block him or be a distant friend? No, just stay the hell away from him. Stay far away from him. If he's telling you he don't want a relationship, it's because he's assessed you and knows that he'll never want that from you. I would never shoot myself in the foot or in the mouth by telling a woman that I could potentially like or love one day that I don't want anything serious, right? I would much rather be ambiguous, or I'd much rather just avoid those types of questions or scenarios than to tell her I'm not looking for a relationship, right? He's only telling you that because he's sure. Don't be a distant friend. You'd be playing yourself, and you'd end up getting strung along. And if he's working on himself, that's good. That doesn't mean he's a bad person. It just means he's not focused on giving you the commitment, because a lot of times guys will say they're working on themselves, and they're really not. They just don't want it from you. And that's the thing that somebody asked me today. Why do guys say they don't want to get married, or they're not taking relationships seriously? And then you look up and they got a girlfriend. Oh, okay. Wait. Okay. So yeah, like, don't be that girl. Don't get yourself played. Definitely just stay far away from. Don't be a distant friend. Just go away. Why do people think that a woman is wrong for leaving a relationship after her boyfriend or husband has cheated, but the man isn't wrong for cheating? I don't think that people think that a woman is wrong. Pretty girl, Farah, thank you for your $10 super chat, and I'm gonna get to the $19 one, but that one lasts longer, so that's why I'm taking my time with it. Sorry, but pretty girl, Farah. Most people understand that a woman is probably going to leave her husband after he cheats. I think that on Instagram and on Facebook, there are some memes going around right now that insinuate that if a woman leaves her husband after he cheats on her, somehow or another, she's not ride or die, or she's not a good woman. He's a cheater, and she's not a good woman if she doesn't put up with it. They had like Gucci Man and some other rappers who cheated on their wives, Snoop Dogg's wife or something like that. And the meme, I have some celebrity wife of a guy who's seemingly evolved from his youth and his folly. But those women got treated like shit for 10 and 20 years before they got what they wanted. I don't think that that's something that anybody expects, and we shouldn't get our intelligence and the knowledge and wisdom and understanding that we apply to life from any Facebook meme or Instagram meme. And I'm not assuming you did, but I'm just saying that's where I seen that same post. I seen a lot of posts like that, but it's just the dumbest fucking people around putting that shit up. It's never like the wise minds or the wisest among us. It's always the idiots. Just being real. Okay. Ooh, thank you for your $20 super chat. I'm sorry it took so long to get to you, but $19 stays up there a hell of a lot longer than $5. And I didn't want to lose these other people. Regarding Black Lives Matter, the person I am interested in went into hiding because his opinions differ slightly, and he'll come out when it's over. I hope you mean like a figurative hiding. Is difference in human right is difference in human rights opinions a deal breaker? Because I'm conflicted. I think it should be. I think that certain opinions should be. I think that you look like a black woman. If, let's say, the guy you're dating is white and he doesn't believe in Black Lives Matter, that's a fucking problem. Yeah, that matters. That matters. I don't think I believe in interracial relationships, but I think that they should obviously be held within within an understanding that both people should have equal rights, equal treatment under the law. Like I don't think some of these human rights issues are as negotiable as we like to make them seem. So yes, depending on exactly what he doesn't like or does like about Black Lives Matter, most likely doesn't like. Yeah, that should be a deal breaker. If you're dealing with a white guy who doesn't believe that, who doesn't understand what Black Lives Matter is doing, right? It's not saying black. I'm not even gonna get into shit. Listen, well, I'm gonna get into it. I don't want to miss this question. Yeah, if you're dealing with a guy who doesn't understand why people are saying Black Lives Matter and he's shouting all lives matter or some shit like that, then that's definitely problematic. And I don't know if that's what you're saying. You didn't give me the details. All I know is if you can't agree on humanity, then you are fundamentally different people, and that could be a problem. Ashley Williams, I'm sorry. I hope that helps. Ashley Williams, met a guy on a nap last week. We talked every day. Even made plans to meet this weekend. Thursday, he starts pulling back. Today, he broke plans. Why? Well, I don't know. I wasn't in on those conversations. I don't know what type of energy he has or you have, and I don't know what his needs are or your needs are. I don't know what your conversational habits are and how you present yourself. I wouldn't have the slightest clue why he pulled back. Other than he lost interest. A lot of times in leading up to a first date or dealing with a woman you've only been on one or two dates on with, you're still dating, you're still encountering other people, you're still meeting other people. And as long as you're still meeting other people, there's a potential for somebody to garner that your interest a little bit more than the person you've spent some time talking to. So he probably got a little bit distracted with someone else. Most of the time, people don't cancel dates to go be lonely and bored and play video games and watch Netflix. They cancel dates to date somebody they prefer a little bit more or they're more excited about. To be quite honest, I'm sorry. I hope that helps. Talia Lee, love and respect. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. She said, happy anniversary. I'm going to get that to my wife. I'm going to get that $10 right to my wife. She won't touch all of this anyway, but I appreciate you. We'll put it on the house. Like I said, on my last live, I'm saving up for a new house. We've outgrown my current house. I didn't expect to be working out of my house so much. I need office space and all of this type of stuff. And we just need a new house and a bigger house. So I'll probably just stick that $10 on the house or an anniversary gift. But I think I already got my wife's anniversary gift, so we're good. Beautiful Roses, love and respect. Thank you for the $5 super chat. She says, how does a man decide whether his marriage is worth it, valuable enough to stay in? So many men leave marriages after so many years and kids together. I think a lot of people, men and women, because I speak to people on a regular basis, men and women decide that the marriage isn't worth it after so many years and so many kids. And generally, again, remember I was talking to someone earlier about the loss of hope. The loss of hope is one thing that contributes very heavily to divorces. The growth of resentment and the loss of hope. If somebody sees or feels or is victim to or is affected by a toxic behavior that you might have, and they've complained about it, they've cussed you out about it, they've bitched about it, they've left about it before, and they don't see any improvement, ultimately they're going to resent you more than they believe in you. And when that happens, people walk away from their marriages. So it's very important again. And for men never drop their vanity. um, Men really don't drop their sexual appetite. I think their body drops it before their minds do. That's why you see so many old creepy dudes still, perverts, right? You be next to death on your deathbed, still a pervert, because men never really drop their vanity and their love for a woman. Oh wow, somebody just dropped a low. I'm gonna address that. Thank you, love and respect to that person. Put that on the house. And I'm gonna get with you. But like I said, um, I think that like people lose hope. Like a man, he never drops his vanity. 70 years old, he's still looking at young girls, right? So if his wife let herself go in her 40s, then he's lost vanity and ever being attracted to her again. If that is something that he holds really close to, his identity or her identity, right? And again, those problems can be more or less his problems than her problems, but still, um, I think that it's important that you always come together and be open to criticism. I think that once every 6 months or once every 3 months it might be good to check in with your partner. If you are seeing signs of separation or pulling away, it's good to check in with your partner and ask them how you're doing. I think that the scariest thing in the world that all of us can ask for is I bet that's $20 in another language. Still good money though. But the scariest thing that any of us can ask for is criticism. Most people are so afraid of criticism. They're so afraid to get news about themselves that is unflattering because it affects their self-esteem. Because we all like to think we're doing better than we are. If you are married, um, if you've experienced this, the lesson to take away from surviving one of these experiences is make sure that you never let the fear of criticism get in front of your willingness and your dedication to be your best, however whatever that may mean. And it's important to get a partner who understands that they have an equal and opposite responsibility to do the same. But it's not just a man thing. I speak to a lot of women, and sometimes they're the ones walking away for the same thing, but they've lost hope in a man's ambition, right? Because ambition is almost a woman's vanity, right? And it's not vain, but metaphorically speaking, like a man never puts down his vanity. He likes to see nice boobs until the day he drops dead. A woman wants to feel like she's going somewhere and she's with a man that's built something around her, right? And older women who've been with men for many years, many decades, and they can look at the empire and the legacy that their men built, and they're proud. But if a man has no legacy, he's building no legacy, he has no potential to build a legacy. Women often do the same thing. They leave. So whether it's vanity or legacy or potential, um, people lose hope. And so don't be one of those people who lose hope. Make sure that you do your best to keep the hope alive in your relationship by always evolving and always taking criticism, appropriately, and giving it as appropriately as well. I hope that helps. And I don't know if that was your exact point, but I think that helps. Love and respect. Fireflies and starry skies. I'm not even sure how much money the super chat is because there's a symbol next to it. And while I'm hoping to trade Forex soon, I have not learned what that symbol is. But I appreciate it. Whatever it is, I will find out later, and I appreciate it. She says, it's 8 a.m. here. Waking up to great advice feels so good. I'm 25. I got no parents or siblings to talk to and show me the way. Life is all over the place before I started following you. Thanks for existing. Thank you. Thank you for existing. And just for people like yourself, first of all, I appreciate the love and the super chat, and you just were encouraging me. But for people like yourself who don't have a support system, I do have a service on my Patreon. For people who need coaching on a very regular basis, or people want to text message me. I have a text message plan and a plan where people text message me and call me, or I call them once a month. But you can text message me pretty much anytime you want. The space is limited, but I think I might have a few slots. That might be something that would be very helpful to you since you don't have a support system. I can kind of be a surrogate, family member, supporter, because I kind of feel like I have, 200,000 sisters. That's kind of how I approach this, is that everybody that I talk to, I care for as if I was caring for a sister, because I don't have a sister. I have cousins that I'm very close to that are like sisters, but I don't have a sister. So that's how I see all you guys, and I would want to make sure that whoever needed support could get it from me. And so I just wanted to let you know that that exists, but I'm not trying to upsell you. You've done enough, and I appreciate you. Um, Shaky's channel, what's going on, friend? How you doing? No question. This is my IOU and wanted to pay you 44 for Obama, but it wouldn't let me adjust for a specific amount. Happy anniversary too. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Shaky. Yeah, Shaky is she's a very talented girl. She actually showed me some artwork on Instagram, and I was amazed by it. And in fact, I was thinking about you today. My wife is writing a couple of books, and my wife was writing a couple children's books, and then a book for teenagers that is actually pretty relatable for adults. And I'm really excited about it. And every time she reads me the next chapter, she was writing today. Every time she reads me the next chapter, I'm so excited about it because there's so much energy, and the protagonist in the story has so much energy. I'm just really excited about it. But the picture that you sent me looks so much like the mind of this young woman that I'll be seeing. The picture with the rhino and all of the colors. I just was thinking about how that reminds me so much of that character that I'm reading about in my wife's story as she develops it. So I just want to say I appreciate you, first of all, sharing your artwork with me and being wife's sister, but just all the love and respect. So back to you, Shaky. Let me see. Okay, so I can get back into these different comments. I'm gonna go from the bottom up so people don't get mad. Um, Somebody said, "Why do men pursue?" It just jumped. It just damn jumped. I don't know where I'm at now. Sorry. The comment section is doing whatever it wants to do. So I'm gonna start from the bottom. Uh, Um, Somebody said, "Hey Kev, have you or your beautiful wife ever figured out whether or not you have psychic abilities when it comes to your personal sessions with clients?" Um, you know what? I think that I have. I don't think I have psychic abilities. I've heard that before. But I do have a knack or a gift for figuring out what it is a person might need from an energetic place. I do a very decent enough a job measuring energy, and it's not necessarily a conscious thing, but it does mold my feelings and the tone of my conversation with people. So there's an intelligence there that is not because I'm so great, that is just a gift, but I don't think I have psychic abilities, but I am, I guess, a sensitive. I would consider myself a sensitive, and that allows me to give the advice necessary to help somebody instead of just filling them up with shit that they would be otherwise interested in because my intellect is large or great or whatever. I try to take my intellect out of it and come from a place that my spirit is doing the talking, and that I'm talking to their spirit. And so there's an intelligence there. I haven't figured it out, but it's not psychic. Not to kiss my own ass or anything. I'm just saying I really like to make sure my spirit is involved in these consultations with people. I've known a lot of people to do these consultations and serve people in this way where they take calls and try to help people, but they're doing it from an ego. They're doing it from the ego, and the ego and the intellect is running the show. And while you can be very smart and you can be very gifted intellectually, if your ego is in the driver's seat, then sometimes your morals and values and integrity are in the back. And we always, at least I do, and in this house, anything that comes out of this house, we want to edify people. We want to build them up. We do not want our egos running it. I don't want you to be impressed by me. I want you to be changed positively by something that you got from me, something that came from my spirit to your spirit. It's not about an ego for me. It's not about whether or not I'm talented or gifted or wise. I just want to help, and I find that for some reason or another, this is the way that God has blessed me with the ability to help. I feel honored to be able to help people, to have the influence or the ears of people. But I wouldn't call it psychic. I think that I have an intent to affect people spiritually, and therefore, as long as I stay, my best self, and I continue to be, everything I'm supposed to be, and stay grounded, I don't have a problem doing that. That got deep in it. Somebody said, "Why does this guy that shows more than enough interest when we're together no longer text or call me like he used to?" P.S. I haven't gotten physical yet. He probably is just distracted and dating around. For a lot of guys, they just like a little bit of variety, and it's going to take somebody that they have butterflies for, they have sparks for, um, in order for them to get focused and get consistent and stay that way for a while. A lot of times, a guy can think he likes you, and then his feelings might change, or a woman that he has a crush on, or something like that, comes back or comes forward a little bit when he didn't expect it, and now he's dealing with this crush. And a woman knows as much as anybody else knows that it's impossible to take your eyes off of the person you like for the person who likes you. That's not how that works. So maybe that's what's going on with him. I wouldn't take it too personally though. Just date somebody else or date other people. Somebody said today is your anniversary? Question mark. No, no, no. The 12th is my anniversary. A couple people just gave some money for my anniversary, so I can enjoy my anniversary, and I appreciate that. Um, I got a $5 super chat from Humble Soul. She said, "Kev, of familiarity is breeds contempt. How can married couples keep things fresh instead of routine?" For me, I think that's a great quote, but it's not an absolute. For me, I like knowing what to expect. I'm not one who needs a lot of excitement. In fact, I'm not very exciting. I think, just like women like a guy and they attribute all these wonderful things to him that they have no idea whether or not he possesses. People watch a YouTuber who talks about relationships and attribute all these great things. And for those who don't know, I'm married and might fantasize about, me, despite my own limitations, and issues and flaws. There are, like, being exciting is not the thing that I'm good at. I'm good at protecting very fiercely. I protect with my life. I'm good at providing. I'm a hustler. I'm a hard worker. I'm extremely ambitious. I'm trying to build an empire. I want to leave an inheritance for my boys and a legacy. So that matters to me. I never stop working. And I'm not a workaholic. I only do it for my family. So I give them their time, but I'm trying to build something for them. So I say all that to say that my flaw would be I'm predictable. My wife knows damn near within a 5 minute time frame, a 2 minute time span, when I'm going to walk right through the door. Right. She doesn't need the excitement of not knowing where I'm going to be at. And some people are spontaneous, and they're exciting and they're fun, and they're spontaneously cheating on their partners. Right. And not to say that everybody who needs excitement is, but just to say that I'm the boring, predictable type. That's just the type I am. If my wife wants to have some, like, a really fun, odd, new time, she's gonna probably Google some shit and tell us, okay, we're going to try this thing. But I'm so focused on building for this family that I'm not the most strange or unfamiliar type of partner. Um, I've heard that quote, and maybe I'm misunderstanding how deep it goes, but married couples can do their, like, it's easiest for married couples to keep things fresh by ever evolving and ever improving. If you stop improving for your partner, then if you're talking about contempt, if you're talking about resentment, you stop improving. When they complain about the way you speak to them, you never change that. You never adjust that. You never try harder to communicate your thoughts or your anger in a more productive, healthy way. Right? That breeds contempt and resentment. Right? If a guy is telling you that, he has a need for sex at least once a month, once a week. I'm sorry, once a week. I would hope everyone once a month, but like, say your partner is just wants to connect with you physically once a week, and you're telling him, well, I think I'm asexual. I could go forever without sex, and then you actually try to do that. Then that breeds contempt. If you just not hearing your partner and not making the adjustments breeds way more contempt and way more resentment than being familiar and being routine. And sometimes people don't know what they want. So when they haven't shared it, um, they can hold you in contempt of not knowing what they intrinsically need. But that's why that communication is so important. That's why I keep saying, really always check in with your partners, talk to them. Hey, are you getting everything you need from me? Because if you're having those types of conversations, at no point are they so familiar that they're done with you. Because if he's tired of missionary and you say, listen, I don't know what else to do. Well, I just think I wanted to try. Well, maybe you do, maybe you don't. But at least you know what he's growing in contempt for, whether that's sexually, whether that's what your communication style, whether that's energetically, whether that's the lifestyle you live, the jobs you have, the house you live in, the people you surround yourself with. All of those things can be adjusted and moved into certain areas in your life, or moved around and reordered in a way that gives your partner and you a feeling of difference, or a feeling of newness. So I don't necessarily think familiarity breeds contempt in everybody. I just think if you let things go dull, or you let things go, more importantly, unimproved, you run the risk of contempt and resentment a lot more than just being familiar. My wife knows when I'm coming home. My wife knows exactly what I'm going to do pretty much every day. I'm not going to deviate. Peace is the king in my house. Peace controls everything in my house. And so peace is sometimes boredom for some people, but boredom is peace for me. And boredom is peace for us. And, when we get a little home, stir crazy, we get the hell out the house. But for the most part, with this coronavirus thing, I ain't felt none of this shit, because I'm always ready to sit at home and I'll hopefully do nothing, because I'm always working. I'm always so busy. And again, we got 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, so it gets pretty heavy, and we get pretty busy. So it's really nice to be boring and predictable. So I'm not a fan of that quote, because I don't think it represents every relationship. And hell, if it does, I guess I'll find out. I'll stand corrected one day when she says, I'm just bored as shit with you. I'll stand corrected. Curly fries 24/7. Or 247, whatever. She says, keep it up with the powerlifting and weights. I appreciate it. Matter of fact, I need to get out and work out tomorrow. This corona is ravishing my body. My muscles are depleted. I'm flat. I'm back to being semi skinny. It's rough out here. It'll probably take me about 3 weeks to get back to where I was. But the corona is just ravishing my body, and I don't even know how to shake this off, because I don't like working out in my basement. It looks like a dungeon, spiders. That's why another reason why we need a new house. I need to put my workout equipment in a nicer place, because I don't like that basement. Latoya Washington, love and respect so much. Thank you so much for this $49.99 super chat. She says, I lost 50 pounds so far, and I've lost 40, and I have 40 to go. Okay, so she had a total goal of 90. I decided to try online dating, and I keep getting rejected by men. My family and friends telling me I'm beautiful. I'm 42. Should I give up on dating and continue working to self-improve? No, keep your mind open to dating, but don't need dating and don't chase dating, but stay open to dating. If opportunities present themselves, investigate. Stay open to dating, but sometimes you just need a break from aggressing dating and going after it and being hungry and hunting down a man. Those things can always start to eventually fatigue you, even if you didn't have any weight to lose. It's not necessarily about your weight. It's about your energy. It's about who you encounter. Dating is always a game of match. Sometimes you will meet people that just don't have they don't have much to give you. And so, and again, rejection is a strong word for meeting people online and them not liking you. That's not rejection. Rejection is when you get to know a person, you have 3 or 4 conversations for about an hour long, and they really kind of get a sense of who you are, and then they're like, nah. All right, but just people rejecting your profile picture, or the couple of sentences you might write. Don't quantify every time you don't talk to a guy more than you would like to as rejection. Again, people are looking for a match. They have an idea in their head about what they want, what they're looking for. You can internalize a person's dreams, goals, and ambitions and fantasies of a woman. So it's important that you don't take those things personally. I hope that helps. But if not, write me and we can get into the crux of it, because I would like to help you. And again, Patreon has I can coach people through these things. A lot of times I do, because a lot of people have a process that they're going through and they need a little bit of help. They need a little bit of love. Fireflies and starry skies, 2,000 whatever rupees. Is that the rupee sign? That might be the rupee sign. Love and respect from you. I appreciate you. Thank you. 2,000 rupees. I don't know how much that is, but thank you anyway. I'm sure it's a lot, because your timer is going extremely slow, ridiculously slow. But so much thank you. It's just going on the house. We're buying a new house, and I'm going to just throw it at the house. Somebody says, oh, anyway, she says, fireflies and starry skies. I'm from India. My guy treats me too good. Been 3 years, still woos me, gifts, flowers, dinners every time we meet. But is extra sweaty to my female friends when we go out together. Sweet. Oh, I'm sorry. But he is extra sweet to my female friends when we go out together. Doesn't flirt, but doesn't feel right either. I get uncomfortable. Am I overthinking? You may, but there have been a lot of women who found out that their boyfriends and husbands and partners were sleeping with their friends. But if he's not flirting, if it can't be considered flirting, and he's just being nice and he's just being sweet, he may just be trying to honor you. Um, I know a lot of guys who are in relationships with people, and they're really amiable. I'm sorry, yeah, amiable people that everybody loves them. Um, Everywhere they go, they have charisma. They just affect people differently. They have infectious energy even around their spouse's friends, they still don't turn it off. And sometimes, you can sense that the friend is enjoying it a little bit more than they should, but your spouse is probably just trying to give them the greatest time and be a great host and make you look good. I remember at my wedding, I normally don't turn that on. Most of the time, I don't have a lot to say. Like I'm an introvert, believe it or not. But I remember at my wedding, just because I wanted everything to go well for my wife, I wanted her to have the greatest day possible. Like a group of her friends came that I didn't even deal with. Like it wasn't like no hate, no malice, no beef. But it's like I don't fuck with y'all. But at my wedding, I hugged every one of her friends. It was awkward as hell, but I was so happy and I wanted her to be so happy. So it was genuine coming from me. But I was just like, I performed. It was amazing. And I don't normally turn it on for people because I don't mess with people like that. I'm an introvert and I'm extremely selective about who I deal with and whose energy I exchange with. Um, Even though people love me and I have a lot of charisma and I meet friends at Walmart and Myers and Kroger's and any grocery store I go into, a stranger comes up to me and we end up talking and my wife makes fun of me for making all these random friends in random places. But for people I know, like I have some boundaries for people I have to encounter on a regular basis. And so, I definitely know what you mean when you say he's extra sweet to your female friends, but I'm not sure that that means anything until you get an idea or a reason to think that. You have to just charge that to the game, and until you got the proof that you need, pay attention, observe. I'm not going to tell you to ignore it because your intuition may be telling you something, but it might be your friends enjoying it a little bit more than you do because you have such a great man. A lot of times it's not the guy. The guy's straight. He got what he want, but the friends are like, I wonder what that's about, right? And so you want to make sure that you don't put yourself in a position where you're looking at him funny when it's your friends kind of trying to elicit something from him. And again, I don't want to make you suspicious. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying be very careful that you're not misjudging where the energy comes from if you're feeling it in the air and don't know where it's come from. If there's an air there, so there's something, but it might not be from him and it might not be his intention. I hope that helps. Um, Okay, so Miss Bellamy says, I met a guy 2 months ago. He is 41. He texts me every day, but calls sporadic. His texts are brief, but addresses things I mentioned. Calls are about 1 hour. Lockdown was lifted. He hasn't made plans to meet yet. He's never seen me. Is he interested? He could be, but you got to remember he was on lockdown. Hell, he'd probably be talking to three women like you. No offense, not like you, like your humanity or your personality, but he's talking to. If I'm locked in the house and I can't do nothing, and I'm single, oh, I'm talking to some girls. So I'm just saying, if y'all wasn't exclusive, then he's probably managing those other relationships as well and trying to figure out after talking to so many women for so long who he actually is enjoying the most and has the most potential with and is most excited about, unfortunately. And y'all don't owe each other nothing. If y'all not together, y'all don't owe each other nothing. So it's not a betrayal. Don't take it like that. Until you meet somebody and you get in a life and get in a business, it's not a betrayal. Nobody owes anybody anything. So unless somehow or another you become more interested in him and he becomes more interested in you, take whatever times and opportunities you get and just figure out what's going on. But it doesn't mean he's not interested. He could be busy after the lockdowns lifted, going back to work and handling responsibilities that maybe he couldn't handle when he was locked down. But just play it by ear. But if if he is less interested, just prepare yourself for that. Don't let it obviously come as a shock to you, and it shouldn't at this point. But just prepare yourself for it, and figure out if when you talk to him, he seems to be as engaged. If he's less engaged when you talk to him, then maybe you're right about him losing interest. But that doesn't necessarily mean he's lost all interest just because he's slowed down a little bit. But it's not a good sign, I can tell you that. So I hope that helps. Um, Peace and tranquility. Kev, if men crave variety, don't ever drop their vanity, and always seem to be on the hunt, how can a wife offset this, even as a God-fearing man is still a man? Because every man that craves variety isn't aggressing variety, isn't creating opportunities to experience variety. I like variety as much as the next man, but what I like more and what I love more is raising my damn sons and being here a rock for my wife. I care about that more. Like nothing matters more than my family. So for me, while I like variety as much as the next guy and all the different types of beauty and shapes and sizes and personalities that women come with, none of that means as much and could never ever even compete with the idea of not seeing my sons every day when they wake up, not being here to guide them and teach them and protect them with my life. Not showing them the way they go, not teaching them how they should be treated and how they should treat their women by looking at how I treat my wife and their mother. I have a job to do first and foremost. This job is like my life is I'm dad. That's what I am. That's what I am. I'm dad. I can put down being the individual Kevin with all his needs and all his wants and all his likes and kinks. Right now I'm dad, right, and I'm husband, and those are my identities. And so for me, being a supporter of my wife and watching her grow and flourish, that's so much more important to me than whether or not somebody has some tight ass on Instagram because they hadn't had no kids yet, and they putting oil all over themselves and then picking the perfect Instagram filter and sticking it out the right way and then calling me or putting it on my Instagram DM that she wants to do this and so. I don't care about none of that. Like that's not. I'm not even thinking about that. And so I say all that to say, in the same way that men do crave variety and they never put down their vanity and they always appreciate the beauty of a woman, and they always seem to be on the hunt. A wife who's picked a good man doesn't necessarily have to offset that by doing anything but being her best, right? Presenting her best. Remember, ever evolving, just like he should be. They should be evolving for each other and with each other at all times. And as long as you're a team, as long as you're best friends, you don't necessarily have to worry about that as much as two people who have separate lives and maybe aren't as good a team and maybe aren't as close of friends, but they're living in the same house or their wives with, like a lot of husband and wives assume their own identities, which is a good thing, but they do it too a little bit too well. And they end up living two separate lives in the same bed, and that is what causes some of that need for variety and that vanity and that hunting to start feeling a lot more heavy and more important. But I don't think that most wives have to worry about that if they just stay on top of their job and they make sure they're managing the relationship, and that man is doing the same. It's not on just on the wife, it's 50-50. But that man, if they've agreed to evolve with each other and for each other at all times, they're going to be okay. Aubrey Denson, thank you so much for your $10 super chat. She says, I'm dating a black revolutionary and I love it, but it feels like he's militant. He's militant in love too. How do I get him to vocalize how he feels about me? He doesn't speak on his feelings for me. Dating for 5 months. I wonder if some people have trouble verbalizing their feelings, but they write them a lot better. I remember my first love she could never vocalize how she felt about me. Oh God, it was terrible. Ugh, it was just bad. It was the worst. It was the worst communicator verbally I've ever met. But in written language, oh God, she became Shakespeare, whatever the female version of Shakespeare would be. She's like, it was a different person because she felt more comfortable writing her feelings down because she was alone with her thoughts, and she had to do to challenge herself. All she had to do at that point was challenge herself to hand me the letter, as opposed to trying to say the right thing in the right sequence in the right way while she was talking to me. So see if written language is a thing that he could do. Let him write you a letter and see how militant the language is. And I don't know how you start that up, but maybe you write him a letter and tell him that he can't talk. Don't talk to you right back. And if you can start maybe a letter chain with him, maybe you have an idea. Maybe you have a chance at seeing what type of feelings he has for you. But if you need him to tell you how you feel because you need that, and that's one of your love language or the ways you receive love, then it's important that you communicate that with him. I will communicate that in written word and tell him to write back. And hopefully he takes that opportunity to, drop the character of revolutionary for a minute and become lover, and become supporter, and just give you that love back in that way. But attempt that. That can be a little trick that you try. Um, Otherwise, you just have to have a talk to him and tell him that you're not getting everything you need. Um, I hope I didn't just miss that question. Black Jelly Bean. Um, I don't think I missed that question, but I'm gonna go back up and look at it. How do I manage myself in dating a divorce? How do I manage myself dating a man divorced only 1 year? He's sweet and consistent, but I don't want to be a rebound. Just take your time, be a friend, kiss him passionately, but don't rush anything. Like a lot of times, women want to jump right into the relationship again because they trying to get their catch, and it just doesn't necessarily work like that. And depending on why he got divorced in the first place, excuse me, he could be very damaged and very fearful about getting back into a relationship, especially if one of the reasons he got divorced is because his wife changed over time. Because everybody changes over time. Some people change for the better, and some people change for the worse. Other people change in ways that don't affect the relationship or bother the relationship, and others destroy the relationship with their evolution. So just make sure that if you don't want to be a rebound, you give him time and adequate spacing, that he's making the decision based on wanting you, not needing somebody, and not liking to be alone because he's divorced. Um, okay, I knew I had a question I missed, so I'm glad my wife sent me this. Um, I'm gonna answer this one. I'm gonna answer this one. Um, Modesty says, besides respect and the need for intimacy, what are the other love needs of a man? Everybody has their own love needs and love languages. So I can't like answer that in general because people's needs extend themselves beyond any confines or standards or blog posts or whatever people think that in general a man might need. Like a man's childhood has as much to do with his needs as his preferences, right? So it's very important that you learn a lot about that man, and then you apply the needs that would materialize from his experience to him. So I can't necessarily tell you that. You can look up the 5 love languages if you want the basis of it, but depending on how neglected he was or how hurt he was or how special he felt as a kid, he has a whole slew of needs and a whole realm of needs that are not even described even in that book or even in that realm of thought. So I hope that helps, but it's that you can't generalize individuals. Everybody has their own specific set of needs, and that's what I try to get to you guys. You all have your own specific sets of needs, and if you're not aware of them, especially your inner child's needs, you get yourself in a lot of trouble just picking people and hoping they're good enough. Tony, $5 super chat. Uh, Said, hi, Kev. Is it normal for a guy to want to talk about it later when you ask him via text, what are we? Yeah, absolutely. It's normal for a guy to want to talk about it later. I remember receiving text messages like that myself. And first of all, I would much rather explain myself and as much as I talk, and y'all can see how much I talk. I can't say this shit in a text message, right? And so imagine me trying to explain either how I don't or how I do want to move forward with a woman. I can't do that shit in a text message. We got to talk about it, and I want to be in person about it. And I also want to think about my thoughts and make sure that I represent what I want and what I believe truly, honestly, and genuinely, and in a way that won't be misinterpreted. So it's really important that women give us that time as men to sift through our thoughts. Now, if we're dragging them along and we're don't know what we want, I don't know what I want can be said in a text message. Don't get her excited about no talk and then say, oh yeah, so I brought you here to say I don't know what I want. But for the most part, it's extremely common for men to need some time to think about what they want and what they want to say. Women think a little quicker, as far as I can tell, with a lot of that. So I want to make sure that people understand that men need their time, and I process things really slow. I'm a slow processor. and I might be ADHD. I read a meme today that made me think I was ADHD because I take the long way even in my math equations. So some men think in long form and they don't have time to or the capacity to have hard conversations on the drop of a dime. Like if somebody starts to argue with me, I have to let them have that. And I have to come back later, like a day later, and say, okay, this is how I feel. Because I'm not a good arguer. I'm not snappy enough. I'm not quick witted enough. So that's very normal to answer your question, Tony. Um, only so this the one I missed. I knew I missed a question earlier, and my wife always makes sure that I get everybody at least to give me the super chat. And for the hundreds of people, again, I always try to hit you on Instagram. Put your questions on Instagram that you will put in this comment section, and I'll try to do a video of it. I'm doing 20 videos at least this month, so keep on the lookout for those. Um, Anyway, only you can be you. Thank you so much for your $5 super chat that I missed. I'm sorry you had to wait probably 20 or 30 minutes for this answer. I didn't mean to let it slip away. Um, she said, I don't want to force a relationship on him, but I want one with him. But I don't if he. But I don't if he wants one with me. Probably doesn't want one with me. I don't want to scare him off. What can I do? You can be patient. You can avoid obviously pressuring him to have that conversation, but I'm hoping that you haven't turned it into a completely all-encompassing sexual relationship that that you which one? Hold on. I will in a minute. Send me that question again that you just sent me, pretty girl, so I can figure out which one it is. Just copy and paste the question. But anyway, you don't want to force the relationship on him. I get that, but you have to make sure that if he doesn't want to be in a relationship, and hold on, wait, I don't know if he wants one with me. Let me read this question again because now I'm confused. I'm doing too many things at once. I don't want to force a relationship on him, but I want one with him, and I don't know if he wants one with me. Okay, so you don't know where you stand. I don't want to scare him off. What can I do? Okay, so you want to know where you stand and all of those things. I think the best thing that you can do is put down the idea that you might scare him off. Like that doesn't serve you, right? And as much as you might want a relationship, you still have to be your own advocate. You have to be your lawyer, your bulldog lawyer, your security guard. Um, if you don't know where you stand and you need to, and you've been giving as a girlfriend or as a spouse or partner would, and you're not receiving the benefits or the security that you should be receiving, then it's not necessarily that he's against it, and you don't know what he wants, but you do need to make what you want known or what your overall long game is. He needs to at least understand that this won't be an indefinite situationship, so you can start with that conversation. I really enjoy what we're doing. And I hope to continue doing it, but I hope it's going somewhere. I can't do this indefinite stuff, forever. I would hope to have some, some direction, eventually, soon enough. And I don't want to put pressure on you, but I'm not going to be your special friend forever. I need to know what's going on eventually. So, do what you like with that information. You don't need a date, a time, or a place, or whatever, but he needs to know that he's going to have to restructure things if he wants it to continue. And if he's scared off by that, he would only be scared off by that if he had no plans for you in the first place. Sorry. When men don't have plans for you, they can be scared off. If a man has plans for you, if a man cares about you, if a man wants you, and he's has a place for you in his future, you can't scare him off with the "what are we" question because he's waiting for it. You can't scare him off with that because even if he's not waiting for it, he's open to it. He's like, you know what, you are special to me. I don't want you to go nowhere. I'd rather do this than anything else. This is where I want to be. You asked, I'm gonna let you know. I think we should probably do this. Let's look at it in about a month, and I think we can. He's gonna give you something. But if you scare him off with the "what are we" question, it's just because he had nothing for you to begin with. That's the bottom line. Okay, so pretty girl, she said that was the one she was talking about, so I hit it at the same time. Yeah, so you're not gonna scare a man off who has an intent to love you. That's just not a thing that happens. So don't do that to yourself where you start feeling like, oh my God, I might scare somebody off. That's not a thing. Be free and continue to always represent you. Never put yourself down in order to win a relationship, because like Rosie Perez said in White Man Can't Jump, Sometimes when you win, you really lose, and other times when you lose, you really win. So if you win a relationship but you lose yourself, have you really won? Rosie Perez, boy, that was some game right there. I've taken that. I was a kid. I didn't know nothing, but I knew Rosie Perez was fine when I was a young boy, and she gave some game to that dude before she left him. Anyway, Soulful Namad, love and respect, Soulful Namad. Can you share the male perspective of what might be going on in a man's head as he leaves a marriage? Because many men say they value loyalty, but their actions show that they value lust instead for ex leaving a 15-year marriage to trade up. Okay, so your ex left a 15-year marriage to trade up, and you saying what's going on in a man's head when he's leaving a marriage. Okay. He's telling you he values loyalty, but clearly he's not being loyalty because he's leaving you to trade up. That's what I'm getting. Um, you know, I can guess what's going on in the male's head when he's leaving his wife. But I've never left my wife, so I can only infer and guess here from the context clues and the experience I had talking to thousands of people. Most of the time, regret. Even a man leaving, even a man on his way out is regretful and many times remorseful and many times, very disappointed in everything. Disappointed in the way he's handled things, disappointed in the way you've handled things, disappointed in his inability to endure and improve, and then disappointed in your inability to endure and improve. If he's telling you he values loyalty, then he's inferring that you have not been loyal. Hold on. Sorry, I look really crazy. It just reminds me of a 40 ounce when I tip it and my lips. Anyway, I look stupid when I'm drinking from this weird ass angle, so I always cover the camera. But like I said, I can't tell you exactly what he was thinking, but if he's telling you about loyalty, then he's trying to tell you that somehow or another he didn't feel like you were loyal. 15-year marriage is a long time. That's a decent sized marriage, especially if you count the relationship before it. If it didn't happen instantaneously, I would imagine he's just going through a lot of regret, but also relief. A lot of times when men trade up, as you say, and you saying that, so you believe this woman is better than you in some way for him to be trading up. So that might be a little bit problematic because that insinuates somehow or another that you think she's better than you, not just different. So we can start there. Self-confidence. If your self-confidence is affected in the same way across the board, then having low confidence can destroy a marriage as well. Needing constant reassurance about how beautiful you are, or if you look fat in a dress, or pick the myriad of things that you can be insecure about. Those things wear a person down as well. And I don't assume that these are your issues, but it just reminded me of that. I'm just sure he's very regretful that he even got into it in the first place, or things went wrong, or they went as badly as they did. But I don't think the whys of it all and how he feels right now is important. I believe that your healing is important. I believe that your moving on is important, and your developing a new life is more important than trying to figure out what's in his head. Fuck him. Let him go. You worry about yourself. Get yourself together. Love and respect, mindful and melanated. What are your thoughts on dating with depression? My last boyfriend dumped me because he was tired of me being depressed. How and when do I tell a guy I'm dating that I have depression? It's managed well, but I do relapse sometimes. Okay. Well, I think I had a similar question on Instagram I was looking for because I wanted to actually do a video on it. And I might be doing a video on it pretty soon because I was looking for it today and I couldn't find it. I know it's in one of my Instagram boxes. She said, okay, well, I guess I just read what she said. Anyway, dating with depression. My point is, as long as it's well managed, the thing with me is, as long as it's well managed, it should be doable. I don't think that, and I'm somebody very close to me that I've witnessed dating a lot, suffers from depression and even a little bit of bipolar. And I've watched some of that come out in hurt relationships. And so you just have to be committed to your recovery from any of those episodes that you might have, depressive episodes, and you have to be committed to the process of keeping yourself in a peaceful, well-adapted space. And if you get away from your treatment plan, whatever that might be, then you're asking for trouble. And so if you are truly well managing it, then it shouldn't come on often enough to destroy your relationship. And if it doesn't come often, and it means it's staying long, those depressive episodes are lasting a long time. And I'm not a psychologist, so I'm not trying to pretend to put a psychology hat on, but I'm just saying, I've witnessed this. I've had some experience with this. um, Depressive episodes that last a few days and are relatively peaceful are one thing, but depressive episodes that are destructive in nature and destroy your partner and tear them down and become abusive are a whole nother thing. So it tells me, if you say your boyfriend dumped you because he was tired of you being depressed, um, he wasn't secure in knowing if he was going to be okay, and that can be that worry and that guilt of not understanding can really weigh down on somebody. And energetically, nobody's dream, and I hope this doesn't hurt your feelings because it's not my intention, but nobody's dream is to live depressed after ever after, or sad ever after, or lonely ever after. The phrase is happily ever after. And it's that way for a reason. Nobody fantasizes about dark rooms and sitting in corners and tears and gnashing of teeth. It's a nightmare. So, with that said, as you know, because you lived the nightmare of being depressed and not having that stability from time to time, the best you can do is take your recovery from those episodes seriously. Take your treatment seriously, and also always be on a journey to evolve and grow outside of the things that you do to survive every day. Sometimes we don't have enough personal projects. We're not picking up enough skills. We're not reading enough books. We're not practicing enough meditation. Like we're not enlightening ourselves enough, right? Just whether or not you have depression, right? If you're not doing enough self work, then those depressive episodes are a lot heavier, and they have a lot less to fight against them, because you have a lot less that potentially is making you proud of you and making you a fan of you. And again, this is chemical, so it's not like you're depressed because it's your fault. No, it's chemical. But that's why you got to take your medication. Make sure you take your medication. Make sure you're doing the self work, your meditation, and learning new skills and things that make you proud of you. Make sure you're taking your treatment serious, and then make sure when you are feeling depressed that you're not attacking, and make sure you're not abusing when you are feeling depressed to create space and push them away. It's best if you're depressed to say, "Listen, I'm having some down days. Just give me a couple days, do your thing, and I'll call you when I'm feeling better, or hey, I'm gonna be in another room for a couple of days. I just need some time alone to just kind of be with my own thoughts. Is that cool?" Like there are peaceful ways to kind of get through it and navigate it, but it's going to take a special partner. It's going to take a very, very special person who understands and who is very empathetic to the needs that you have, as a person who suffers from depression. It's going to take somebody who has patience, who's very emotionally independent, who doesn't need you to be up all the time, right? A lot of this isn't about you. Is half of it is about your partner, their willingness to understand, their willingness to grow with you, their willingness to be a part of your health, your mental health, and your recovery process from these times. And so they have to be a special person. They have to have almost a caregiver's mentality at some point. They have to have a certain amount of natural skill sets, revolving around their nurturing and their caring abilities to uplift people and generate power and generate happiness and joy and peace instead of needing to absorb it from somebody else. He might have been what I would like to call, and I'm just making this term up right now because it sounds really smart, an absorbent personality, meaning that he gets his if he's an extrovert, and I don't think that's the same, but what I mean by this is like extroverts absorb people's energy and then they're energized, and introverts draw energy for themselves and then they're energized. If he needs you to be uppity, if he needs you to be happy and joyful and loud and colorful in order for him to have a happy life, then he's just somebody who doesn't match well with you. There are people who generate power, who generate joy and peace and happiness and contentment and laughter. You need to get yourself a generator who doesn't need you to be up for him to be up, and then he can increase your vibrations and raise your vibrations just by being a light and a power source in the room. So you might have been just dating the wrong personality type too. That's also a thing. So I don't want you to internalize the fact that he left you for being depressed or going through those episodes. But I want you to understand that, again, as I keep telling you guys, everyone has their own specific needs. It's just not about a guy who's tall, dark, handsome, dressed well, smells are good, do this, this, and this, and this. You're depressed. You suffer from depression. You have depressive episodes. You need a man who has a social independence, an intellectual and emotional independence, who doesn't need to draw power off of you in order to be happy, who can allow you the time that you need to be sad if that's in fact what you feel. Um, all of those things. So, did I miss a question? Hold on. Yep. So I just missed two questions. Pretty girl, can you send me those two last questions that I didn't answer because I'm talking too long? I'm gonna get the $10 question, but I'm gonna answer this one. So I hope that helps as far as the depressive stuff. I need to focus. Um, Anyway, some Blue Cantrell, love and respect Blue Cantrell. She said, I messed up giving the wrong person most of my 20s and it went left. I'm now 30 and honestly, I don't want to be bothered in dating. I'm happy life wise, but I'm tired, numb, and disinterested in dating for over 2 years now. Um, I would hope that you obviously know what you feel. Clearly, you do. But sometimes tired, numb, disinterested is really a cover for disappointed, fearful, anxious. So just make sure that you're reconciling the right realm of feelings and thoughts to your reasoning, because many of us reason um, our fearfulness and the things that we avoid. We can apply logic. And I keep telling, I have an insanely intelligent client, and I keep telling her, sometimes your wit works against you, your intelligence works against you, because we often can legitimize and intellectualize our own crap and our own issues as something else. So yes, numb, disinterested dating. No, you're numb, tired, and disinterested in the person that you gave your 20s to. New people haven't done that to you thus far, that you haven't met them. So just make sure that you're not applying your past to your future, but also understand that tired, numb, and disinterested might feel like power because you said disinterested, but in many ways it's submission to giving up. So I talk to a lot of women in their 40s who've done that tired, disinterested stuff for many years, and they just regret the years that they lost not dating. So you've gotten a rest break. Just get back out there and meet friends. If you're not dating, you're not worried about a man. What's the problem? Just meeting friends. Think about people as friends. Date as friends. Don't even date. Just say, hey, I'm meeting male friends. If somebody shows the propensity to love you and excite you, then you can start dating them romantically. But if you're not moving around, you're not doing anything, start making male friends and kind of whet your palate for the dating world that way. I hope that helps. Mindful and melanated makes sense. Thanks for answering my question. You did not hurt my feelings. I'm glad. I'm glad. I appreciate you for telling me that. I know I missed this $10 super chat, so I want to make sure I get this. Um, Yash Yashtrinki Perez. I'm so sorry if I beat your name up. I really do apologize. Forgive me. Um, she says, this is the one I missed earlier. She says, hey, Kev, I met a guy on a dating app. He called me every day. We FaceTime daily, but he doesn't make a plan to date. We met once. It was great. He said he'd been hurt and want to take it slow. Do you have advice? Call me every day. We FaceTime daily, but he doesn't want to make a plan to date me. We met once. Okay, so he's just taking his time. He's trying to develop a friendship, because if he's been hurt, he has trust issues. If he has trust issues, he's going slow. He's going slow because he doesn't believe people are who they present themselves to be. The best thing that you can be is show him that you are who you say you are by continuing to be a friend, even when you don't have anything to gain from it. I don't want you to stop dating. I don't want you to put your life on hold for this, but this is a type of guy that needs a long-term friendship. He needs to know he can really trust a woman, because he's probably been hurt in a way that can't be undone. And it's really important that you show him that even in the absence of the benefit of a date or whatever, you're still interested in who he is and what he presents. And that's the only way that you can get him to trust you enough to start moving forward. In fact, if he's talking to you every day and he's FaceTiming daily with you, and he met you once, he probably determined that you might be a little dangerous for him. So he's really trying to take his time and measure his approach. I remember I used to like this girl a lot, and she was extremely dangerous for me. And for those reasons, I didn't really date her. Right, I was just trying to build a friendship with her, and she was too inconsistent in the friendship, and so I never even said nothing to her. Never had that type of interaction because she was too inconsistent as a friend, and I needed to know I could trust her because I was just coming out of a bad relationship myself. So I can tell you from experience that that is a process that some guys go through. Um, but I think that it's important that you make sure you continue to date, continue to live your life, even though you're excited about that. If nothing materializes and he finally wakes up, then you win. If not, it is what it is. You didn't help anything. You didn't hurt anything. Eugenia Fitz. Oh, that is probably not how you pronounce that. Um, Love and respect to you, Eugenia. She says, "Thank you for helping the masses in the manner that you do. God bless you and your family. I appreciate you, and thank you for your $50 super chat." Um, Lively Heart says, "When a man loves a woman, it's so obvious and clear, but when he doesn't, it's so hard to experience that love. How can a woman know whether or not she is wife or just his placeholder? By his dedication and commitment to consistency to serve her. Like I always tell people, masculinity is something that is best observed through a man's sense of responsibility to a plethora of things, but specifically for this question, a wife or a placeholder, to his woman, his sense of responsibility to her, his sense of respect and reverence to her comfort, to her safety, to her emotional well-being, to her life, to solving her problems, to making sure that she doesn't have to worry about anything if he's in her life. A man who is considering his wife is going to give his all. You don't slow down toward marriage. You speed up. You try to build up because you want to get into that place mentally. Um, there's no way of knowing if he's just a really good guy naturally if you're just a placeholder. Sometimes you got to step out on faith. There are no right magic answers for some of the stuff that we experience here on earth. But I can tell you that if you're in a great, healthy relationship, you feel good, he feels good, and he does value marriage. And when you have that conversation, mm, when you have that conversation about marriage, he's into it, and it's not something that he's like, I don't know about marriage. You can figure out what a guy feels about family life, relationships, and love, and things of that nature. So just make sure that his belief systems are in line with your belief systems about marriage, and then I go from there. But don't necessarily trip yourself out or worry about placeholders and wifey. Uh, just make sure you're being satiated and you're having a healthy relationship. And tell him if you have fears about never being chosen in that way from him. If you're with him, you should have enough intimacy established, enough vulnerability established where you can say those types of things. And if you don't, then that may be a reason, or that might be something that you look at as a placeholder material. You should have intimacy and openness with your man. Lively Heart. Also, is it better for a man to love Lively Heart? Thank you for the $5 super chat. She said, I hope that helps anyway. Also, is it better for a man to love a woman more since men love less in general? I suppose it is. It's better. Oh, okay. So this is you again. Yeah. It's yes. It can be better for a man to have more excitement about you than you have about him. But the difference is men ultimately learn to love and accept wives and girlfriends that they really weren't even excited about. A man could learn to love you in a way that I have not met women who can successfully enough do, because men love the process that men take to love, or the road that men take to love is so slow that it we really have time to build legitimate feelings if we ultimately love somebody. Women go into it a lot quicker, and so that's why they're much more excitement driven sometimes, because they get super excited, they have butterflies, they feel a connection, which is bullshit, it's just crush. They feel a connection, and they're full speed ahead because they love the idea of love a lot more than men. Are afraid of the idea of love because many of us are afraid of being taken advantage of, looking stupid, loving and losing, not feeling masculine, manly, being weak for a woman, because a man, it might be a woman's strength, but a woman is a man's weakness, so to speak. And at least that was on a meme one time. I thought it sounded smart, and to a degree, is true. Um, Anyway, with that said, yes, sometimes it can be better for a man to have more enthusiasm about you than you have about him. In fact, in most cases, it is because men again have wandering eyes. They never put down their vanity. If a man's really excited about you, then that all aids to his early on loyalty before he really loves you the way he should or wants to. Man, I hope that helps. I just see a random question I can answer real quick. Um, before if any super chats come on. Somebody says, let me go all the way to the bottom because people mad. Um, hey Kev, oh no, I know somebody that asked the question. Okay, there we go. These comment sections be jumping around. Um, the comment section is still jumping around. Good gracious. Should you back? Somebody says, should you back off when you love him more? North Star G says, should you back off when you love him more? Not necessarily back off. Just protect yourself and don't get into a service mode where you become an employee of that person instead of an equal partner. Um, I don't want you to get into a place to where you're trying to earn your keep with a man. That can be very toxic. So don't do that. So no, you don't have to necessarily back off, but just be aware of the situation and the dynamic, and make sure that you don't play to your own weaknesses by sacrificing yourself for the relationship, throwing yourself on a grenade when he doesn't have that same love and respect and selflessness for you. Somebody said, question, Emma. We'll just go on with Emma. Emma says, question, I started talking to someone and he keeps pursuing to date me and was sweet and nice. And after 3 weeks, I said, okay, no problem. We started dating. And after a month, he just left. Y'all just wasn't compatible. He just wasn't as excited. Maybe he thought something else was going to happen or be there. People have their needs, and some guys are very much aware of their needs. And when they are aware of their needs, they're more likely than women to move on when they haven't found those things, because we're not run by our butterflies or our sparks or our connections. We're run by our logic in a way that some women aren't. Not all women, because women have logic too, obviously. But overall, one of the biggest issues I encounter is women using that sparks, that butterflies thing, that soulmates thing, whatever lofty idea they've attached to a guy, as a reason for not protecting themselves. And guys don't necessarily do that. So he just left probably because he might have some intrinsic needs that he didn't see you meeting, or another girl he had a crush on more and had some different qualities came up and distracted him. Sky, I missed your 2.99 super chat. YouTube didn't show me, but I care about it anyway. So Sky, she says, how soon should I share life goals with the man, want kids, etc.? I think that's first date conversation, as long as you present it well. Yeah, it's first date conversation as long as you present it well. A lot of times, a person that goes to the first date and be like, I want kids, I'm looking for a husband. I mean, a lot of people don't do it like that, but that's how it comes out in some way or another. Yeah, I want kids, I'm looking for a husband. What are you looking for? So now, on the other, if I'm on the other end of the table and I'm on a first date, and you're telling me that these are your life goals and your ambition, you want marriage, you want kids, and you're looking at me and I'm your date, I'm like, okay, so me, like, what am I supposed to do with that? Um, you don't want to put a man under pressure, so always be aloof about when you expect to achieve those things, to give a man an idea that you have these goals and things matter to you, but he's not expected to fulfill those goals if he goes on a few more dates with you. And that's the best you can do, because you still got to be honest and represent yourself genuinely. If you meet a guy who doesn't want any of those things and then you pretend you don't want them too, then you're having one of those conversations like, I told you I didn't want kids, but now I want kids. And like, I've seen people break up and get back together and break up and get back together, and then the woman ends up pregnant on accident. It gets kind of crazy. So just make sure people should always date from a place of having the information necessary to make the determination that whether or not that person is meant for them, compatible with them, or good enough for them. And so if you have those ambitions, a guy should probably know, but at the same time, you should also make sure that you don't give him the idea that you want them next month or today or yesterday or next year, but that in time, that's what you're looking for, one day you hope to have. So the conversation will be like, well, one day I hope to have kids and be married and stuff like that, but you never know right now. And just, looking for great connections and satiating healthy relationships, like that type of thing. That way he doesn't feel like you're saying, okay, so if I go on a few dates with you, I'm expected to fill this role, because that's what it feels like. It feels like pressure. And if I'm a stranger and I don't know you well enough to care about whether or not you want kids, or if I don't know you well enough to want pressure from you, then it's going to be a turnoff. So just be very careful how you explain it if it's asked, but only present that information if it's asked directly on the first date. If they're not curious about it, leave that for another conversation. Once you develop more intimacy and more vulnerability in a relationship and have had more great conversations, and that person has more to judge you on than whatever you appeared to look like on their first date sitting across a dinner table. A person has some investment in you before you give them news that might take them aback. So that way it gives them a conflict, something to pull from. Anyway, I hope that helps. Solid. I think I'm caught up. So somebody said, is anyone even dating right now? So much going on right now. Yeah. Dating is still happening. People will date, and I'm sure people were in concentration camps dating. There were slaves dating, fresh off the boat, still jumping brooms. Like people date, and even in crisis, people date. Somebody said, can a man be fulfilled in a purely sexual relationship with no emotional ties, no commitment? When do men decide they want more than something just sexual? He can only be fulfilled in the ways that he's being served. Period. A man can be fulfilled sexually if he's being served sexually, but if it's a purely sexual relationship, then he may or may not be fulfilled. If a man has a connection, or has he holds some kind of reverence to the idea of being loved by a woman, and he wants people to care about him. He wants somebody to care if he gets home on time, if he makes it home. He wants somebody to care if he is hurt or is stressed out or whatever. If he cares about being loved as a person, then he can't be satiated by a woman just throwing that ass right. That's just, like, he might not want a girlfriend, but he wants to elicit the love of a woman as well. So a man could only really be satiated in the ways that he's decided he wants to live life and experience, through women. So if he wants more, and you're just having sex with him, then he's probably not completely satiated. He probably always wants a little bit more. But there's no real right answer to when do men decide they want more. That's a completely and purely individual. Some guys want more when they get their money under them and they feel like, more manly because they got money in their pocket and money in the bank. Some men want more when they find out enough about a woman. Some men want more when they find out you have other prospects. Some men want more when their other crush doesn't want them. So it just depends on why he's with you and why he wants more. So there's no right answer to that. I'm sorry. Asked the "what are we" question, and he admitted. Okay, somebody said, I asked the "what are we" question, and he admitted that he loves me but doesn't have time. He hardly texts and calls. What should I do? You should damn move on. If he doesn't have time to love you the way he would hope to love you, or the way that you would have him love you, then you wasting your time. All you're gonna do is drive yourself crazy, not getting enough. I got 20 minutes left, y'all. I'm getting off here at 12 midnight on the dot. Hopefully, I don't know if I've ever done that before, but I'm getting off here at 12 midnight. So if you got a question, y'all know what's going on. It's hundreds in here that I probably didn't get to. So, but like I said, if he tells you he loves you but he doesn't have time, there's no relationship. So don't play yourself. Don't waste your time trying to figure that out. Don't get strung along. Be present for him. Be a friend, but you have to change the idea you have of that relationship until he has the capacity and the willingness to love you. Because I don't think anybody's that busy, frankly. And if he does love you, he doesn't love you enough. And again, sometimes love isn't enough. intention, love in the absence of intent to love is not enough. And that's what most people have, or many people have. He loves you, but he has no intent to love you, because I can say I love you and it doesn't require anything of me. But if I start a relationship with you, then I have the intent to love. There's a responsibility there. There's obligation there. There's compromise there. There's loyalty there. There's conduct there. He doesn't have time for that. So again, he might love you, but he might not love you enough. I loved a lot of women back to a degree, right? Women have, told me they love me, and I can say it honestly back, but I can't say I'm in love with them, right? Or I couldn't at the time, or say, look, I do have feelings for you. It is love. I will cry at your funeral. I will, boo-hoo and all of that shit, but I don't want to be with you. So it's different. You know what I'm saying? So just make sure that you're not creating an air around him that he can't fulfill. I hope that helps. Somebody said, is it more than okay to have, y'all do y'all thing. Y'all give any, somebody said, is it okay to have high standards? Yes. And then somebody else said, it's more than okay. Yeah, it's more than okay. Part of the reason why women are not getting what they want from guys is because they won't state and require what they want. All they focus on is being what a guy wants. That's a waste of time. I'm gonna sip some more of this water. My mouth getting dry. Yeah, most women are focusing so much on being what a guy wants that they're really not getting the most out of their relationship. Have high standards. Be your own security guard. Be your own protector. Be your own best friend. Be your own biggest fan, and make sure that person represents you at all times until a man proves himself worthy for your time and your friendship and your energy. Faithful and happy. Without playing games, how do you genuinely keep a man on his toes and chasing you after a commitment? Keep your standards. Women who stick to their standards generally don't have issues. It's when you start falling off and betraying yourself. I got a T-shirt coming soon, probably even tomorrow. It says, "Not keeping your own standards is the greatest betrayal," and I feel like that's really true. Most women don't have their own standards, or they don't keep their standards. They let a guy kind of do what he wants to do, and he doesn't have to work for the relationship. Therefore, he gets to a place where he's not chasing you anymore, because it doesn't even take a normal amount of effort to keep you. He can keep you with minimal effort. So as long as you keep your standards high, and keep a man needing to give as much as he receives in a relationship, he'll genuinely be on his toes, because things are required. But if you don't require anything from him, then you'll be sorely disappointed. Sorely disappointed. Fireflies and starry skies, man, love and respect. 1,000 rupees. I don't know how much rupees are, but I know that other one is still on the board. So, or at least it's still on the board. I see it. I don't know how much rupees are. I might have to do some math later, but I really appreciate you giving of yourself this evening. And it's just going on the house. I'm buying a house. It's going on the house. I want to give y'all a better YouTube studio. I want to give y'all a better film experience. I got to buy a nicer camera. I gotta build a studio and an office space, because I want to do different scenes besides standing in front of the white background and all that stuff. So I'm really excited to have a different YouTube studio and a film studio and a podcast studio in my new house when I get one. I haven't bought one yet, but I'm looking for the right one. So thank you so much. I'm gonna do some math on rupees later, but I'm sure it's a decent enough amount, because your timer is going super slow. Anyway, she said, another quick question. I don't want to get married ever. Me and my boyfriend you said my boyfriend always fantasizes, talks a lot about our life post marriage. I feel guilty and scared to tell him that's not what I want. Should I be honest and risk it? I just don't want to spoil what we have. To be quite honest, fireflies and starry skies, you have to be honest and risk it. He has to continue this relationship from a place of being in the know, or as some we say in America. I don't know if y'all say that in India. So he has to have all the information. If he doesn't have the adequate information to make the determination to be with you or not, then he's entered that relationship or stayed in that relationship under false pretenses, and you don't want to lead him on or lead him into thinking that there's this different type of future structure for you guys. If you don't ever want to get married ever, I understand. I completely understand. But with that said, you need to let him know that while you'll be his girlfriend forever, you will never marry him. And if that's something that he decides to walk away from, then he has that right. But I'm not sure that you have the right to keep that from him, because otherwise it would be like a man not wanting kids and then marrying a woman who he knows wants 4 kids and then springing that on her later on. Like, oh yeah, I told you I didn't want kids, so I got a vasectomy before we got married, and she's stuck. You know what I'm saying? So just make sure you show respect for his mind by giving him the benefit of the doubt, and letting him get get as much information about moving forward with you as possible. I hope that helps. Somebody said after I got her pregnant. Oh, okay, Luke Live. A guy in the conversation. I think it's been a couple of y'all. And love and respect to the men out here who realize that my advice kind of goes both ways in many of the cases. He said, after I got her pregnant, I ran away. Do you think I should go back and go check on my son? I haven't seen her since she was pregnant with him 3 years ago. Look, Luke Live. Um, First of all, obviously you shouldn't have done that. You had no business running out on your kid. If you got a kid out here, I don't give a fuck if it's been 14 years. You, as soon as you get the nuts to go do it, you check on your kid. And I can give you a personal story. One time, I thought that one of the very, very, very few times I've had frivolous casual sex, because that just wasn't my thing. But one time with a girl who I loved and loved me, but I wasn't in love with her. But it was feelings there, but it was really casual. It was just an off night. I had sex with this girl, and it was an amazing night. We had a great time. But um, I didn't obviously want, anything from her as far as a relationship. And, we ultimately didn't talk. But about a year, about 10 months from then, about 9, 10 months, about a year, I guess it was about a year from that point, I seen her and she had a baby. And because this girl is beautiful in the same way I'm handsome, kind of the same style of attractive, the baby could have looked like her, but it looked a lot like me to me. And I remember I came home to my wife, pretty girl, who's now obviously my wife, but it was my girlfriend at the time, because it was a while after that. And it wasn't that year. It was like a couple years after that, because I asked her then, and she was like, "Boy, crazy, you bi." She like, "Boy, bi, you crazy." But about when the baby was about 3, I asked my wife again. I was with my now wife, and I said, "Listen, I don't know if I believe her." And my wife had been watching a lot of Maury Poker, so I'm looking at the thing like, I wonder if that look. So I'm all on the girl's Facebook trying to figure out if she just didn't want to tell me it was mine. I'm stressed out. I'm watching way too much more. I end up having to call that girl at like 1 a.m. I work third shift. I tell my wife at the time, my girlfriend, like, listen, I'm gonna call her and get this shit figured out. Figure out if she just telling me no because she don't want to burden me, because I would never want that to be the case. All that to say, I called her and she laughed and she said, I'm so glad that it was you that night, but no, it's not. It's not yours. She just looks a little bit like you because you look a little bit like me. But no, and we had a great conversation and that was it. But even after 3 years, if I felt like I felt like I could have a responsibility out there, it was gonna cost me money. It was gonna break some hearts. It could have fucked my relationship up. I didn't care. As a man, you have a duty to provide for and to protect your child, to guide your child, to teach your child, to be there, to support them, to coach them. Like there's no reason whatsoever that no man should ever have a child out here and not do the right thing and go and check on that child. Not just check on that child, but enter that child's life, kick the fucking door in, and become the man you should have been 3 years ago. So to your question, I appreciate you being honest and being real with the people. But listen, bro, you got to do that. There's not an option. You shouldn't even be having to ask me. And it sounds like you don't have any men you respect in your life. I would suggest to you, check out my podcast, The Fatherhood Village. Me and my man, Deshar Holloway, talk about these fatherhood issues and the issues of fatherhood and familyhood and just manhood in general all the time. And The Fatherhood Village might be a podcast that gives you some more direction, because we have hour-long conversations about these very things. But absolutely go check on that kid. Don't come empty-handed. Come with some motherfucking money in your pocket. Come with some gifts, some salutations. Come with hugs. Come with love, and come with the endurance to deal with what you're going to have to deal deal with to explain yourself, because people are not just going to accept you with open arms. They mad. They're going to be very upset with you. They're going to insult you. They're going to talk down on you. They're going to treat you like shit, and you deserve it. Endure that and be strong like your kid isn't. Your kid don't have the strength. Your kid don't have the endurance. Your kid don't have the fitness to deal with these life issues without their daddy, right? But you're going to have to endure some heat coming back because they're not happy with you, brother. They probably pissed. They probably been doing the mother-father job by themselves. They probably been doing it with their families. Their support system is pissed at you. So they're going to talk shit about you. They're going to talk about you like a dog, but none of that matters. If you're a real man, and if you want to be a real man, and if you want to grow into a greater man, then you have to endure that. And men have endurance. Men go through shit and men fight it. And that's what you're going to have to do in this situation. So please go do that. Please not only go check on that child, but start to dedicate a portion of your finances and your life to that child. Get your time together and make sure you make a space for that child in your life. Don't go chasing ass. Don't go chasing women. Don't go doing nothing else besides being a dad and being a dad first. That was a long ass answer. Thanks for your honesty, brother. Rihanna B. She says, I've been chatting. I'm sorry, Rihanna, it took so long. She said, thanks for the 10-year-old super chat. Love. She said, I've been chatting to my dream guy for about 1.5 months. We've been on 2 dates. Basically, all signs show he likes me and cares about me, but my anxiety says he's still not down for me. How can I stop self-sabotaging? First of all, Rihanna B, the thing is this. If your anxiety tells you he's not down for you and everything else is telling you and all of his actions are telling you and all of your experiences are telling you he is, you'll bring your fear to pass before he does. If your fear is just not working out, then your anxiety and self-sabotaging guarantees it, right? I always think about it like this, right? Accept that the worst has happened and move on in good faith anyway, right? Feel the fear and do it anyway. Accept that the worst has happened. Cool, you self-sabotage. You don't trust this is real. Well, if you don't trust this is real, you're already disappointed. Fine enough. You're already disappointed. It already happened. Don't worry about it. Just continue moving forward. You haven't lost anything, right? You will 100% lose if you continue to sabotage, but you have a 50% chance of winning if you don't sabotage. The odds are in your favor if you continue doing the right things with him and continue loving, not loving, but, liking a lot, or, serving whatever you guys are building. The odds are in your favor. The odds are in your favor that way more so than if you self-sabotage and walk away from this relationship. You have a 100% chance of failure if you continue to self-sabotage. So the fear and anxiety should be, again, letting those fears and anxieties make your decisions. Never let your fears and anxieties make your decisions for you, ever. If you want to, you can do a little exercise I have people do sometimes. On one side of the paper, you can write facts. On the other side of the paper, you can write feelings. The feelings are all the fears and anxieties that you have about him leaving you, not liking you, not respecting you, not wanting you, not being loyal to you. The facts on the other side of the paper are the experiences that you've had with him. If the facts don't match up with the feelings, or the facts don't lead to the feelings or infer the feelings are true, then you've done yourself a disservice considering them at all. And make sure you check yourself. Sometimes seeing things on paper makes it easier enough for your brain to process things, because the brain trusts things that are written down. So that's one of that's a hack that a lot of car salesmen use. You can talk prices with them for 3 hours on the lot, and they'll still get that stupid ass piece of paper out and start writing all the numbers down on the notepad, and then slide it over to your desk to convince you to pay more. So the brain trusts things on paper. So sometimes seeing the facts versus the feelings on paper is a very helpful way of managing your expectations and your anxieties. But otherwise, you could also read a book, The Power of Not Giving a Fuck. I don't remember who the author is, but it's an orange book, and it just says the power. No, the subtle art. That's what I'm sorry. The subtle art of not giving an F. I don't want to say F too many times because they'll demonetize my damn video. But the subtle art of not giving an F, UCK. That was a really good video, and it talks about kind of coming to grips with the worst possible scenario and doing it anyway, continuing through motion and through fear and through anxiety. It's a really good book. I think it can help you a lot, especially if you're self-sabotaging. I would start there. Bella Green, thank you so much for the 1999 super chat. She says, thank you for schooling us tonight. God bless. God bless you too. I appreciate y'all. I got 4 minutes left. I'm going to try to get to some questions. Man, y'all lit tonight, and thank you for coming back. A lot of y'all came in the first time, and I was having that internet issue. I don't know what the hell going on. So I appreciate y'all coming back to me. Desiree Serena Jackson says, I was dating a guy on and off for 5 years, and he keeps breaking up with me. I still love him. Why do guys do that? If you're dating a guy on and off for 5 years, he's never going to be sure enough about you to continue a marriage or keep a marriage or keep the family unit in place. Or like, I don't know why guys do that. Probably because he loves you, but he's not content with being with one woman. He needs his freedom. He again he has an insatiable need for variety, and it puts him in conflict with himself. And he probably has some issues with you and some grievances with you that maybe he has lost hope in you. Making improvements in, as you should have with him. But if you're on and off with him for 5 years now, I hope on and off means like you broke up once or twice. But if you broke up with a guy 5 times in 5 years, then I'm not sure if there's a nice future in that relationship. I think that a man knows who he wants to be with and what he wants from a woman. And if he's not sure of you by this point, then it probably is what it is at this point. Don't do that to yourself. There you go. Boom. Mark Manson, I see you. YouTube tried to block your comment because you put the F word, but I seen that, and that's the book right there. The Subtle Art of Not Giving the F by Mark Manson. Love and respect for that. Disregard. I don't know what the hell I just said that for. But yeah, that's the right book, and I hope that answers your question. I don't know why guys do that. Sometimes girls do that too. My ex-girlfriend was trying to do the on again off again thing with me, and you got 2 times to break up with me. You got 1 time to break up with me. The second time we break up, that's it. I keep just my standards. My standards are always, if I contact you, if I'm dating and I contact you twice and they are unanswered, you will never hear from me in your damn life again. And also, if we in a relationship and we break up twice, that 1 time I can forgive. That second time, I'm never coming back. There's no future. That's done. 2 times is a you got 2 strikes with me across the board. And I'll cry, I'll sit in the corner, I'll do whatever the hell I got to do and by myself in my apartment or in my house or wherever. But I'm not doing it after 2 times. If I had to break up with your ass or you had to break up with me, after the second breakup, we ain't getting back together. We're not on again, off again, on again. We on again. We off again. We break up. We on again, and then that's it. If it breaks up after that, and I don't give a damn how spaced out that is. Somebody says, I got 2 minutes. Somebody says, how do you tell a man has changed when they return? He should have some new habits, some new practices, and some new beliefs. He should be on his path of enlightenment, and it should be obvious. And if he hasn't started a path of enlightenment and have new ideas to share about what he's learned and how he's evolved, and maybe he has not changed. He's just regretful that he lost you and potentially bound to do it again. Somebody says that's because you're a boss, Kev. I don't know what she's talking about, but you know what? Be it unto me, even as you have said. I got 1 minute. 2 strikes you out. Yeah. After 3 years, he keeps ghosting me, talking about he needs space. Fuck that guy. Don't talk to him again. If he keeps ghosting you after 3 years, you have no business talking to him. Just stop talking to that guy. You have no business dealing with that guy at all. Find a real man. Find a guy who wants you. Not to say he's a real man, but he definitely doesn't want you, and he doesn't really like you too much. So throw him away. Put him in the garbage can. I got probably 20 seconds. Thank you. You're welcome. Kev, you're so funny. I like to think so. One day I might do stand-up comedy, but I'd do it in a separate city with a mask on or something. I get laughed off the stage as an unknown person first. Anyway, I guess that's my time. I wish I could have got to everybody. I'm gonna look through these comments and anything that I see as I sign off of here. I'll probably try to do a video on if it's something I haven't covered yet. So do y'all thing. I'm gonna look over these comments pretty soon, and then I'll attach. I'll attempt to look through the comments if YouTube lets me. But I appreciate y'all for watching me. I appreciate y'all for staying for this long and showing me love and appreciation. I recorded about 8 videos this morning. I'll start to edit those out and release them every day. I'm recording about 7 or 8 videos tomorrow. I'm trying to get 20 uploads in the next 3 weeks in. So it's going to be a lot of uploads coming up. So I'm really excited about that. Remember, don't forget, if you need a phone consultation, you can get one at girltalkwithguys.com services section or email advice. You can get that too. Make sure I got everything else. Buy a t-shirt on my Teespring store. I'm not the greatest t-shirt designer in the world, but my messaging is on the t-shirts, and I believe in what I'm telling you guys to do. So I always try to make sure that there's something that you can purchase if it resonates with you. So check out my Teespring store. I think coupon code new me gets you 20% off of anything in the Teespring store, or 15%. There's some kind of discount attached to it. Just put new me in and see what you get, I guess. Be a lottery. Anyway, love and respect to y'all. I appreciate y'all for joining me. I'll get with y'all later. I'm going to try to get off of here. Good night. Good night. Good night. Oh, my next live is probably a week from now. I'll try to go live every week if you hear me. I try to go live every week. Bye-bye.